How's your family otherwise?
We are live. Prajakta ma'am, over to you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Swapnil sir. Uh, Good evening, everyone. On behalf of BVDUIHMCT Pune, I, Prajakta Kedar Parasnis, would like to welcome Mr. Bhairav Panchal, the guest speaker for today's session of Startup Stories, organized by IIC BVDUIHMCT Pune. Mr. Panchal is a celebrity chef and an entrepreneur, and also an alumnus of Bharati Vidyapeeth's IHMCT. I'd like to welcome the faculty members and the students for this session. I request Dr. Lalita Chirumule, Principal and President IIC BVDU IHMCT Pune, to give the inaugural speech. Over to you, ma'am.
Thank you, Prajakta. A very good evening to all, and a very warm welcome to you, Chef Bharat, the writer of a successful startup story featuring today in the startup series of our institution's Innovation Council and Entrepreneurship Development Cell, which has been constituted recently. I would also like to welcome all our faculty and students aboard this forum. In alignment with the vision of our founder Chancellor, Honorable Dr. Patangrao Ji Kadam, social transformation through dynamic education and the government policy of Atmanirbhar Bharat, we as a constituent unit of Bharati Vidyapeeth deemed university are trying to pursue both these goals with utmost vigor and passion in order to inspire and develop budding entrepreneurs amongst our students. We are truly proud to introduce Chef Bhairav Panchal, our alumnus from the batch of 1997, and today a successful entrepreneur and restaurateur with the opening of the first and only Mediterranean restaurant, Sumak, in Thane, Mumbai. I remember Bhairav in college as a naughty, mischievous young boy characteristic of his age. He was intelligent and hardworking and always passed his exams with flying colors. Bhairav has been cruising through his professional life aboard a number of cruise liners. He has won laurels for his culinary expertise and passion, which has been simmering throughout his career. We are all curious to know your success story, Bhairav, and I wish you the very best in your future endeavors. Thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am. Thank you for putting up some good words for me. As a student, I remember I was a brat. And not only me, but we were a bunch of them. And the story goes back to 1997. That is almost 2.5 decades back. That is 25 years. It's been a long journey. It's been really a long journey. The journey started back in college days, when I can't see the other students though, but I'm sure they can hear me well. And saying that we were a brat, we used to make a lot of fun in college. We used to enjoy the college. We used to trouble our teachers. We used to trouble the studious students sitting on the first benches. And we were the last benches. And we are proud of that. And thankfully, we are still not the last benches. We are still moved ahead in life and did something for ourselves. So yes, it's not always that, what we see is what comes there. So anyway, the life has moved from 1997 when we passed out the college. And I remember in 97 to get my first job was rock and roll. I used to go to hotels looking for jobs. It was tough time. It was really, really tough time. And it's very easy to give up. It's very easy to quit. But quitting was not our thing. It's not my thing. And I had to do something for myself. I said, okay, let's start a catering company. And I launched a catering company. And we did pretty well. We did pretty well. We bagged orders for small cruises. We did marriage, wedding functions, and it was great. And finally, I landed up at the resort at Malad, which was a five-star property, as a management trainee in the month of September or October 97, 98, I believe. Thereafter, I worked with resort for a year. 98, there was an opportunity that came up, now called the Taj Lands End in Bandra. I joined the hotel. That time it was called the Region. It was owned by the Lokanwalas. It was one of the most expensive hotel and one of the most prestigious one as well. And it was a great opportunity. Worked with good master chefs like Mark Talker, Harpal Singh Soki. There was Indian master chef from Oberoi's who had come there. Was Kotwal Singh. Absolutely phenomenal. They taught us, they nurtured us, and it was a great experience to share. Moving on in my career in 99, Disney decided to launch a cruise line company. In 99, I moved myself to Florida. But before I moved to Florida, I had to apply for the interview. And whenever there was to be an agent in Mumbai, the company name was Airborne, a very small office, I landed up to their office. They were like, it was like a fish market. More than 1,000 people waiting outside to barge in to look for a job. And one name that I knew inside the office took me inside the office. It was, I didn't know the person, I just knew one name. Somebody works with that name inside. I went with confidence. I went there, I said, I want to meet Mr. Dinesh. He has called me. And he gave me the paper, a test paper, filled in the test paper, I passed it. And there, bang, I was called for the interview. When I went for the interview, 750 candidates, out of which we were the first 7 who went in the month of September 1999. And it was the first ever journey started begin with cruise line. I joined as a Commi 2. It was the lowest position in the rank. Because at that time, they would not consider us as chefs. They would take us as commies. And nevertheless, we worked ourselves up. We became Commi 1, Chef the Bharati, went down to become Chef the Cuisine. And in 2006, I left the company and I joined Holland America Cruise Line. I worked with Holland America Cruise Line from 2006 to 2009. I became executive chef and the youngest executive chef at the age of 27 in a Dutch company. The VP of the company flew down to the ship looking for me and said, who's this young boy who's become a chef? And it was amazing. It was a great experience working with 55 nationalities on board. 55 nationalities, people from all over the world, from Colombia, from Mexico, from Caribbean, from UK, Ireland, Scotland, South Africa. It was amazing. Indonesian, Filipinos, absolutely amazing. 2009, I left Holland America. I was invited to work for Celebrity Cruise Lines, one of my corporate chefs from Holland. He went to Celebrity and he took me with him. There we had a different experience. It was opening of a ship, closing of a ship, opening of new ships, launching new restaurants, fine dine restaurants, a French restaurant, a novel American cuisine restaurant. It was amazing, amazing exposure. We worked with best of best chefs and fantastic. Thereafter, I moved myself to Princess Cruises. That was in 2013, and I worked with them for 6 years. And I left them as in the capacity of a traveling executive chef, overlooking 3 to 4 ships under my supervision with a staff of 350 each ship. So that was quite a number to work for. It was quite challenging. My job was to curate menus. My job was to execute them, to make recipes, to standardize everything. And it was a great learning lesson for us. Life is all about that. Life is all about learning. You never stop to learn. Never. Well, this is a bit of me, and I believe it's time that I want to ask you one question. A question to all of you. The question is, what's your next chapter? What's the next chapter in your life? What do you think? What do you think? Why you are here? Think about it. Think about it. What you're going to do next. I've been thinking about it a lot. Past few days, past few months. I am in the middle of my new chapter. I came down to India in 2018. In 2018, I left my job, I came out of my comfort zone, and to pursue my passion, to become an entrepreneur, to become a restaurateur. And I always wanted to be one. So here's it. I gave a shot for myself. I came to Mumbai in 2018. For 6 months, I was just gathering my resources, looking around for places, looking around for venues, doing presentations, approaching investors, and finally, after 6 months, we tied up. We made a company called Epicure LLP, and we took up a big place at Bandra Complex, BKC, one of the most happening commercial places of Mumbai. A huge place, a 10,000 square foot place, one of the biggest in the entire BKC. It's a ground plus one. We came up with 3 different concepts. One was an English tea house, serving more than 80 to 90 varieties of tea and coffee, along with Scottish menu. Started to plan for a fine dine restaurant by the name of Scotch Bonnet. And on the first floor, we planned to do video corporate conferences and video conferencing, and so on. But life is not like that. Life is always challenging. It keeps throwing challenges up. We started the work. Went on for 6 months. We were about to finish the work. The work completed 80%, and one of our investors left the board. And here we go. We stopped again. We again started to look for an investor. And by the time we got another investor, the lockdown came up. The lockdown came up, again the work stopped. It went on for another 6 to 7 months. And by this time, I had already spent 1.5 years investing of my time for this project. And it's not easy sitting at home, not earning a penny, and managing yourself with such a huge project. Finally, didn't know what to do. Should I go back? Should I quit? Again, the question is, do I have to quit? No. I'm not a quitter. I'm not going to run away. I'm going to be there. I'm going to fight for it. I'm going to fight for myself. And we stood up again and started to again tap the resources. There, I came across two strangers, complete strangers, who I was introduced through one of a common friend. They wanted to be aspiring restaurateurs. They joined hands with me. We started the project. 1.5 months, the restaurant launched tonight. And that's how the baby was born. It was a tough call. It was a tough decision. It's still tough, but we keep going. We never give up. And this is life. Quitting is not our thing. That's what it is. I don't know if you ever heard about CCL, Confidence, Competency Loop. Confidence, competency loop is something that is really, really very, very helpful tool. And I think it should be followed by everybody. It helps a lot. It really helps a lot. What do you mean by confidence, competency? Confidence, competency loop means there's a loop. When you try, you're not sure of things, but you try. When you try, there are two things. Either you succeed or you survive. If you survive, you have learned. And if you have learned, you build skills. And when you build skills, you become competent. And the more you learn, the more competent you get. And this is how it goes on. Confidence is something, it's not a trait. Confidence is a skill that you have to insert into your behavior. Confidence will lead you to success. It will lead you to success. Self-doubt. What we say when we say self-doubt, we always self-doubt ourselves, right? Oh, can I do this or can I do that? Oh, what will happen? Will I be able to do this? Will I be able to complete? Will I be able to pass the interview? There are 4 traps to it, to the self-doubt. The first one is hesitating. The second is hiding. The third one is hypercritical. And the fourth one is helplessness. So when I say hesitating, what do I mean by hesitating? What I mean by that? When I say hesitating is when an opportunity comes. You students are going to go into building career. You're going to sit for an interview. Don't be nervous. Go in there with confidence. Don't hesitate. Apply a 5-second rule decision. Just count 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. What happens with that? your brain gets activated. When your brain gets activated, your fear is gone. And trust me, it did work for me. It did work for me. I don't have to say it loud, just say it in your mind. But it definitely helps. When you say hiding, we always keep ourselves behind. We hide from things. No, we need to face it and face it bravely. And we come up. And you will see that you will succeed. We have to overcome these self-doubts. These are the few factors, you know. Quitting is not our thing. You need to be confident, not have self-doubt over you. You need to build your own confidence. And that's how you will move ahead and you move forward. The life is full of challenges, full of difficulties. It's very easy to give up. Very easy and very difficult to be there, to stand there, face it, and cross it. Once you pass the challenge, you will be more and more, you get more and more confident. The doubts, remember, the doubts always create mountains, but your action will move the mountains. Remember this. You know, I have been through a lot, and I'm sure everyone in their life, in some point, has seen difficult and tough situations, and you always act upon it. Once you decide to take an action, you are there. You are doing something. You are doing something about the situation. When you see a problem and you know there is a solution to the problem, you act on it, you see that the problem is gone. I hope you guys have understood what I'm saying. You guys are with me, as I can't hear any one of you. Hello?
Yes, Chef Bhairav, we are there with
Yeah. So this is what I wanted to convey to the students, you know, that the industry, the time is tough. And it's never was easy. But it's not going to remain the same. We are going to bounce back, and we are going to bounce back with a bang. And trust me, the industry is going to shine again. This is just a passing phase, you know. We will just pass through. We will just pass through. And we have to pass with flying colors. Students, do you have any questions for me at this time? Hey friends, don't be shy.
Chef Bhairav, they will be putting up their questions on YouTube chat. The moment we get a few questions, we'll be getting back to you on that.
Sure. Is there anything more you want me to say?
Can we share your PPT about this particular thing then?
Yeah, please do that.
Bhairav, until the time the PPT comes on, I think can we start with your journey, you know, as to how you have reached the stage today?
Yeah, sure. Why not? So the chapter begins, as I say, in 1997 when I started to work with resort. My very first job in 1997. It was It was very very tough to get a job in the first place. And when I got it, I was really really thankful. I did my best. I was joined as a management trainee. I worked with resort for a year, and then I had an opportunity to join Taj Lands and one of the new upcoming hotels in Bandra by the name of Vision, known then. And what a good opportunity, a great opportunity to work with very very experienced chefs, master chefs like Mark Crocker, Kotwal Singh, Harpal Singh, and they nurtured me, they took my journey forward, and finally I ended up joining Cruise Line. And the cruise industry, I have already shared my experience with you. The cruise industry was not easy, It was very, very tough. Nothing is easy in life, but it was one of the toughest. One of the toughest. Now it's still better, now it's still easy. But when we started to work over there, Indians were not accepted as openly as now. Now we are all become executive chefs, we become corporate chefs. We are there in the market. People look upon us. That was my catering company when I started in 1997. Did a couple of contracts with cruise boats. We did some wedding functions. So I want to say something about this teacher who I had met when I came back in 2007 to show him my card. He was our ex-principal, Mr. Tony D'Souza. He was a very tough person. He used to share tough love. He used to give a really really tough time. For our betterment, for our upbringing. And when I came back to him and when I showed him my visiting card, I was an executive chef. I think I was proud, but he was proud. That's my little baby, Sumak. That's the restaurant at Thane Hirandani Meadows. We do a lot of molecular presentations. We use liquid nitrogen. We make ice creams on the tables. We do a lot of gimmicks over here. The guests, they love it. The staff, they love more to work. You see these little balls, they're molecular tzatziki, spheres, and that's, I believe, is Momara sphere. There's a little hummus over there on top with couscous, pickled vegetables, lavash. That's zatar roasted eggplant, topped with feta cheese. That's me on the ship partying after successful. We used to do a lot of sanitation inspections. There's a body called United States Public Health, which comes on board every 4 months, and it's one of the toughest inspections. And when we talk about hygiene, when we talk about sanitation, I can challenge you, I can bet you can open the drain cover, swirl a white cloth inside it, and it comes out white. That's how maintained it is. And that's my little team there, all my sous chefs, executive sous chef, the provision master, enjoying after the tough times. This was a small little team of mine. It's only 1/4 of them. It actually has to head 350 staff, all from different nationalities. And everything, I think, boils down to one thing, is that be confident, don't quit, live your dreams, stay happy, accept the challenges with a smile. That's my Instagram address. Reach out to me. You're more than welcome. That's my restaurant email ID.
Good evening, Chef. I just wanted to ask you about the beef soup story that is there on the screen, that about their motivation. So can you please share that with us?
So, the stew is a process where we do long hours of cooking, right? The flavors to come out of stew, it takes very, very long. The reason I put the beef stew picture over there is that it's like the career has been like a stew, slow cooking. And slower and simmering. As it simmers down, the flavors, they boil down, they get concentrated, it gets better and better day by day.
I think we can take the questions if there are any.
Absolutely. Don't be shy to ask. Don't be open.
Good evening, sir. Can I?
Good evening.
Can I ask a question, sir?
Yeah, sure. Hi, what's your name?
My name is Sayyid Arshad, sir. I'm from TYCT, third year.
Okay.
Sir, first of all, I would really like to appreciate you because your words and your story is really inspiring.
Thank you.
Secondly, my question is, sir, there is a point in every success story, in every plan, where at that point, persons, they are really near to their success point. They are a couple of steps away from their goal. But the pressure is so intense at a particular point of time. Every situation, condition is against you. There comes a time. So I wanted that, can you suggest something that how at that point we can handle ourselves mentally? Because at that point, the only thing we think is about giving up, about letting go everything. So can you suggest something or advise something about that, how to deal with that phase?
So Harsha, that's a very good question. And you know something, fear. Fear is a normal behavior. To get nervous is normal behavior. Remember, we cannot control our thoughts, but what we can control is our action.
Yes, sir.
Right?
Yes, sir.
As I said earlier, don't forget CLL, that's confidence competency loop, right?
Yes, sir.
When you try, you succeed or you survive. If you survive, you learn. When you learn, you build skills. When you build skills, you gain confidence. And this is your answer to it.
Thank you, sir. I really appreciate it.
Be
Thank you so much.
fearless. Be fearless. Don't get trapped in the self-doubt. The more you think over it, the more you will fear yourself. Apply the rule, the 5-second rule. I don't know if you have heard of this 5-second rule. Just count in your mind. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Go.
Yes, sir.
Yeah?
Yes, sir. Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Come on, students, don't be shy.
So we are waiting for their questions on YouTube chat as well. We haven't had a question yet. Okay. I have a question from one of our students. Which Disney cruise line did you work for or work in?
So there is only one Disney cruise line. There are 4 ships to it. There are now 4 ships. The first ship was Disney Magic. The second was Disney Wonder. The third one was Disney Dream. The fourth one is Disney Reflection. So when I joined in 99, I got the opportunity to open Disney Wonder. So I worked for all 3 ships, Disney Wonder, Disney Magic, because when you join a cruise line company, you keep shuffling into ships, depending on the requirement. So we do a 4-on, 2-off contract. Sometimes you go on Disney Magic, sometimes you go on Disney Dream, sometimes you go on Wonder.
Great. We are still waiting
Bharat, I have a question for you.
Yes, ma'am.
What would you advise our students, working on a cruise liner or becoming an entrepreneur and restaurateur like what you have become?
Ma'am, my advice to the students is, one, that whatever they choose to do, whether they choose to work in a restaurant, in the hotel, on a cruise, in the airline industry, whatever they choose to do it with full heart, do it with full passion, and don't leave do not leave an inch. Go till the end. Don't stop in between. Do not quit. The challenges will keep popping up in every part of life. And the most important is to face it, cross it over, and go ahead. No matter what field you choose.
Great advice from you. I'm sure the students will value this advice when they start with their careers.
The time is tough, Everybody wants to make fast money. It's not about money, man. It's about experience. It's about there are different. It's always pros. It's never plus. It's always pros and cons to every side of the coin, right? When I worked for cruise industry for 20 damn years, it's really long journey. I used to stay away from my family. My son grew up. He's 19-year-old now. I didn't see him growing up.
Yeah.
It's tough. It's never easy. It's upon us how we want to do it. I really enjoyed my work. I really enjoyed traveling. My family used to come with me, sail with me. There were perks to it. At the same time, I had to pay a price.
Correct.
Chef Bhairav, we've got a question from one of our students. Where
Yes,
do you draw your creative inspiration from?
Where do I draw my creative inspiration from? Well, it was just from within. It's a passion for my food. I think to share memories, to build memories, and to share my heart. This is what I work for. I want my guests to come in my restaurant, have food, enjoy it, relish it, and remember the flavors when they go out.
Okay. We've got another question. What was or is the inspiration behind sumac?
So what had happened was After coming to a very close opening of my BKC project, and it did not take off. It was very tough for me, right? And one fine evening, I remember it was a Tuesday evening, and I was just taking a stroll. Suddenly, I realized that what am I going to do next? Am I going to sit at my home and just keep waiting till this thing opens up, or I'm going to do something about it? I came home, sat, thought over it the entire evening, and finally I decided that I need to step up myself and do something about the situation. I brought myself out. I decided to go and meet people outside. And that's where I met two strangers, absolutely two strangers introduced to me through a common friend who were aspiring to open up a restaurant. They were from Thane, they were from their Thane localites. And what happened was, after speaking for over a length, we realized and we thought that Thane is an upcoming town, it's a beautiful place. There are no Mediterranean restaurants around. The only Mediterranean closest restaurant was at Powai, Hiranandani Powai, Beirut. So we decided to go for a Mediterranean theme. And of course, we do have Indian cuisine along with it. But most of our menu is Mediterranean. That's how the sumac was born.
One of our students is asking you, at
Yeah.
a younger age you became an executive chef. So
Right.
what were the challenges that you faced in starting?
So as I said earlier, when I joined Disney Cruise Line, I joined in a capacity of Commie 2. I worked my way up from Commie 2 to Commie 1, from Commie 1 to a chef de partie. I was the only employee in Disney to get a double promotion, from chef de partie to straight to chef de cuisine. And I'll tell you how it happened and what had happened. So there was a competition that was held on the ship. It was a culinary competition. And I remember we had an executive chef who was a German chef by the name of Thomas Baximar. He is no more now, but he had held this competition in the company. And Disney Resort and other ships from the company, they all participated. And I was also a participant in that competition. Apparently, I became a winner in that competition. And when I was a winner, the company was sailing first time from US to Mediterranean. And we had to develop new menus. We had to do new presentations. I was chosen for that project. When I was chosen for that project, I really did very well. We designed the menu, we designed the dishes, we presented it, we took pictures, we made the entire board, we did the costing of it, and the company was really impressed with my work, and I received double promotion. I became chef de cuisine. I worked with them for another year or so, and then I got a new opportunity with Holland America Cruise Line. They had 18 ships at that moment. It was a big company, and I moved myself. When I joined there, the company asked me to step down one position. But to grow, you always have to come out of a comfort zone. If you want to grow, you can never be in your comfort zone. You have to be uncomfortable. If I'm doing same job over and over every single day, I don't have to think about it. It just comes to me naturally. But if I have to do a new job, I have to apply my mind, I have to apply my brains behind it. You have to put in more efforts. And this is where you start to grow. And that was one challenge that I took upon me. I took one step down and I moved back. I joined the company in the capacity of a sous chef. Within the same contract, I was promoted as a second executive chef. And apparently what had happened was, I came home for vacation. When I joined back, and another German chef who I worked with had to leave for some emergency. And I got the opportunity to manage the show for a couple of months. I managed the show very well. The company was happy. I was put on a step-up position. I came back, again did a step-up, step-down, step-up, step-down, and I succeeded. And finally, I was given a permanent position of an executive chef. This is how I became the youngest executive chef in the company. I was in the right time, in the right place. And that matters. That matters a lot.
Right. have a question from a few
Good
of our
evening, sir.
students, and the question is like people associate Gordon Ramsay with beef Wellington as one of his best dishes. So, what dish is very close to your heart, or would describe Chef Bhairav the best?
So, very interesting question. From my heart, I love cooking Indian food. I have a great passion. Every Sunday morning, I make sure I cook food for my family. Every Sunday morning, I love cooking biryani. I go in the market in the morning. I buy the meat. I come back home. I have my beer on the side. I marinate my meat. Start cooking, and every Sunday lunch is biryani. And the kids in the family, they look forward. And that's my favorite as well, to cook. It's complicated dish. It's fun.
Great.
Good evening, sir. There's a question from a student. You proposed Sumac as a hot cuisine restaurant, as a fine dining restaurant. How did you come up with the theme and the idea or the cuisine?
So basically, I wanted to do something modern. Hot means modern, HAUTE. And I didn't want it to serve straight as it is. I wanted to apply some presentation to it. I wanted to do some gimmick to it. I wanted to add some magic to the dish. For example, we do some reverse verification. We make ice creams on the table. We use liquid nitrogen. It's a magic for the guest. There's a pistachio liquid in a glass bottle, which is poured into a liquid, which looks like water. And suddenly it turns out to be an ice cream. For kids, it's amazing. They go, wow. We want to create a wow factor. And presentation is, we always say, we eat with our eyes first. And that matters the most. When your presentation is to the point, you have won half of the battle.
We have a question about investors, sir. You mentioned about investors. So, what exactly are the investors looking when deciding on a project? Can you please share your experiences?
So what happens is you plan a project. Like I planned this BKC project. It's a huge project. It's a 10 crore project. Of course, I didn't have that kind of money to invest in the entire amount. So I started to look for investors. When I say I started to look for investors, and investors are always looking in the market where they can grow their money. With our experience, with our expertise, with our knowledge, if we are able to convince the investor, they do invest money. They do invest into your company when they see that the ROI is going to be great, return on investment. We have to make PPT presentations. We have to show them sales forecast. We have to show them what is the plan of action, how you're going to move forward, how you're going to generate the revenue, how you're going to approach the companies. There has to be all this plan has to be there in place. Then how much capital is required, how much capex is required, how much operational capital is required on day-to-day basis, on monthly basis, how much operational capital has to go into your account to run this business smoothly for next 3 months, 6 months without affecting, even if you don't get any business. This is how we work on with investors. And then you give them a return on certain percentage. You decide on what percentage you are. You have to be a negotiator, and you have to be a very strong negotiator. I hope I answered the question.
Yes, sir, you did. Thank you for that.
Is there anything else? Any other questions popping up?
Yes, so there is another question from a student. The question is, what strategies the restaurant has adopted in this critical situation right now, the market conditions, prevailing market conditions?
Correct. The current market condition, as we all know, I need not elaborate more to it, that is really, really tough. The measures that I took was when I signed in agreement for SUMA, I put up a pandemic clause in my agreement, a restriction clause in my agreement, that any kind of restrictions from the government, you call it a curfew, you call it 8 o'clock close down, 11 o'clock curfew, midnight curfew, or a complete lockdown, the rent won't be applicable. That's how you work on it. That's how you save yourself. We cut down on our salaries, we cut down on our wages, we cut down on our overheads. Currently in my restaurant, which had a staff of 25 to 27, now it's operating with only 40. Everybody's on standby. And we either pay them 30% who are on standby, and we are paying 50% who are working with us at the moment.
Right, sir. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
There's another question coming from the student. What, according to you, is the success mantra, or what advice would you, like to give our students in case they want to go in for a startup or a venture?
The success mantra is your 5-second decision rule. You have to take a decision for yourself. You have to take a decision. No matter what, right, wrong, no matter what. Let the time decide. You have to take an action. As I said earlier, the doubts, they build mountains, but your action will move them. When you want to become an entrepreneur, you have to take your chances. You have to move forward. You have to keep trying. You could be succeed or you could be a survivor. And you keep trying. You don't quit. You don't give up. You believe in yourself. You have faith in yourself. And that's how you go. You motivate yourself. Nobody else is going to. People are going to give you positive thoughts. Positive thoughts, they last only for some time. And then you're back to your reality. You could be negative. It doesn't matter how personality trait you are. The most important is you need to be confident. You need to have your own self-confidence.
Right, sir. Thank you.
Is that my answer satisfying to you?
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
To give up is not an option.
Absolutely, sir. So we, in other words, we can say, we can tell the students or whoever, not only the students, that you have to be determined, as in where you are heading and where you want to reach. What is your goal? Right, sir.
Absolutely. You have to set your goals. Every 5-year goal you set.
Correct.
Next 5 years, where you see yourself. Next 3 years, where you see yourself. And if you are not reaching there, why you are not reaching? What is stopping you from reaching it? What are the challenges that you are facing? Have you learned from your challenges? Are you repeating your mistakes? Or you are making new mistakes? Because repeating mistake is not good. Making new mistake is good.
Correct. Right. Yes, sir. Okay, are there any more questions from the students?
No questions on the YouTube stream. Ryan, you've got a question. Ryan's put up his hand. Please go ahead and ask.
Good evening, sir. This is Ryan Wasif from TYCT.
Hi, Ryan.
My question to you is, sir, I'm good, sir. How are you?
I'm fine, thank you.
Sir, my question to you is that you have been working on a cruise liner for a very long time, and even my father is a hotelier, so it wouldn't have been easy for you to be on cruise and keeping your family life apart. So if someone is not getting promoted or is not getting successful in life, and he's not willing to give up his family life, what would be your suggestion to that person when it comes to this situation, because it's not easy for someone to work on a cruise line for a very long time, and you have been working on cruises for a very long time. So it takes great efforts and courage to do it. So can you please share your experience regarding that?
What's that? Ryan, right? Your name is?
Sorry, sir?
Your name is Ryan, right?
Yes, sir. Ryan Vasir.
I did not get your question quite well, actually. I did not understand it that well. Can you please repeat your question to me?
Sure, sir. So my question to you is that you have been working on a cruise liner for a very long time, as you have told us. And my question to you is, how will you encourage someone?
Hello. Hello. Hello.
During his tenure of work.
Ryan, we lost your question in the middle. We were not able to hear your question.
Ryan, can you hear us?
He is traveling at the moment, if I'm not wrong.
I think yes, there's some connectivity issue.
He had texted me that he's traveling, so probably traveling around.
Right.
I guess he was about to ask, or he was asking, how can I convince somebody to work on cruise even if he's not comfortable staying away from the family, something like that.
I think he was asking about how to maintain the family and the work-life balance. Mostly about that thing.
So the initial days were tough, when I was doing longer contracts. I was doing 5 on, 6 on, 2 off. So I did the longest contract in my career. I did was 9 months when I was when I took double promotion. It was the longest one. But other than that, I've done throughout my career, I've done 4 on, 2 off, 4 months on, 2 months on, and my family used to travel with me. My kids used to travel with me when they were on vacation, or my wife used to travel with me. So it was not that bad. It was balanced. It was quite balanced. It was tough, but it was balanced.
Prajakta ma'am, over to you.
Yes. Yes. Thank you so much, sir, for your answers. And it was indeed a very informative, encouraging, and motivational experiences that you shared with our students. Yes. I would now like to ask a few students as to what takeaway they have understood from this session, or what inputs they have taken from this session. I would like to call Richa to talk about the takeaways from the session. Richa?
Rucha Bagre is not online.
Okay, fine.
You've got Kasturi Rana and you've
Kasturi is there. Kasturi, can you hear us?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, Kasturi, if you could continue.
Good evening, everyone. On behalf of the students of Bharati Vidyapeeth University, IHMCT Pune, I take this opportunity to thank our guest orator, Mr. Bhairav Panchal, for coming up with such an enlightening presentation on entrepreneurship. Sir, it was really very inspirational for our students, especially of the factors that you spoke of, like confidence. Life is all about learning, stay happy, and so on. Then you also asked us what is our next chapter and why are we doing this. All of this was quite meaningful and has put us to think about it into deep, and also gave us an idea of how college was outside, like how outside life was, how life outside college was. I'm sorry. The example of the stew was also quite relatable and interesting. I would like to say thank you so much once again for sharing your journey of life and your experience towards entrepreneurship.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Kasturi. I'd like to ask Arshad to say a few words about this session. What was his learning from this session?
Good evening, sir. I'm Sayed Arshad. I really appreciate the way you shared your success stories and your inspirational words with us. I really learned how to manage things when you are when things are getting out of your hand. And as I asked the question about when it's feeling like we have to give up, so I got the answer from you, and I really appreciate it. I understood that how we should balance when we are not willing to continue, and how we can make our mentality ready for going on. So it was a great session, and I really thank you for sharing your experiences. You're knowledgeable, and I thank you for your contribution.
It's my pleasure. Same here.
Thank you, Arshad.
Thank you, ma'am.
Yes. I'd like to request Rupesh Londe sir to propose the vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. On behalf of IIC BVDUIHMCT Pune and the Entrepreneurship Cell, it is my utmost privilege to thank our guest speaker and alumni, Mr. Bharat, for sharing his startup story with us. Sir, your story has really impacted our students this evening and learned about perseverance through your journey of entrepreneurship. At this time, I would like to also thank our IIC President and Principal, Dr. Pichirmule Madam, for her valuable guidance and inspiration. Also would like to place on record my sincere thanks to my colleagues at the Entrepreneurship Cell, Mr. Swapnil Pawar and Mrs. Prajakta Parasnis, for their continuous support. Also would like to thank Team BVDUIHMCT Pune and all the participants for making this event successful. Thank you, sir, for sparing your valuable time, and looking forward for more inspiring sessions with you. Also would like to have a session on culinary, also sharing your friends sharing their entrepreneur journey and the expertise. So looking forward for that session in the future. Thank you, sir, for your time. Thank you for sparing your time from your busy schedule. Thank you so much, sir.